It's time for another Dice Tower review with Zee Garcia.
Hey everybody, what's happening? Today I'm taking a look at a two-player card game of combat called Conquest at Kismet. That's a lot of alliteration right there, at least phonetically. This game, each player has a deck of cards and a mothership, and they are basically trying to blow each other out of the sky. I guess it's in space. Out of space. And if you do it more effectively than your opponent, then you win the game. It's a pretty straightforward game, but with some interesting twists, some interesting actions you can take. I'm going to give you an overview of how the thing works, and then I'll tell you what I think of this one. Here we go. So here's everything that comes with the game. Each player gets a mothership card here. You get this handy-dandy turn order card. You get some tokens, damage, energy, these retribution tokens. And then each player gets their own unique deck, obviously not sleeved. But you get your own deck, you shuffle that up, and you are ready to begin. The objective of the game is to take your opponent's mothership down from 12 hit points there to 0. And if you're the first one to do so, then you win the game, okay? Each card also gives you some other attributes and such. And the game also includes small format cards of these two, just in case you want to, I guess, pack it up and travel with it or something and don't want to take the larger cards along. So, that's basically it. We're going to be following this order, going back and forth, taking turns until someone wins the game. And so let's say it's going to be the blue player's turn. I'll run you through a round here. The first thing we do is we do the recharge phase, in which you go back up to 6 energy. Your energy limit is here on the card. It is 6 for both of them. And so I would get 6 of these tokens, which I'll be able to spend on my turn, and sometimes even carry over to my opponent's turn, possibly do something on their turn. After that, draw. I'm going to get 7 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. After that, we do the time phase, which happens to both players, but I'll talk about that in one sec. And then the deploy phase, which is when I'll actually be playing cards. I can put, there's a few different kinds of cards in the deck. Let's see what I drew here. I got some support cards, support, I got a combat card, and I got an ability card, okay? So combat is going to matter when we get to combat later on, battle stations, and the abilities are something you play from your hand typically, and then it goes away. That's that. And then the support ones have a little gear symbol here, and that means I can attach them to my mothership, and it's basically some sort of upgrade I've given to my ship. All right. And there's a few things on it that you need to be aware of. There's sometimes a power up here in red that is only going to matter if the card is used during the battle station phase, so let's not worry about that for now. The support card has some kind of power. It has a cost up here that, as you can see, is in a little battery symbol, meaning it's going to cost you these energy tokens. And then it has over here an amount of health, so a number it would take to knock it out, a number of hits. And then it'll have a little corner here, a little triangle with a number in it. So a 1 pointing this way, a 2 pointing down, or a 3 pointing off this way. So the way I can do this is, let's say this is my ship here. I can attach to my ship a flex capacitor, let's say. And I'm going to spend 4 of these. I now have a flex capacitor attached to it, which says use to discard the combat pool, then re-pull. Okay. I can add to it the, what is this thing called? The conversion plant. Okay. So I could spend 1 more because it costs 1. And then I don't have enough for this. I don't have enough for that. I might not want to deploy something else for some specific reason. Let's say I do want to deploy this. So I spend my last energy there. And I give this to my ship. And now it has the maximum support limit, which is 3. It says so on the card here. So if I wanted to add another one, I would have to discard one of these 3, okay? Now, what do these things do? Well, they do whatever they say they do, but the way they work is, let's say, this card, for instance, says use to discard 1 card in hand, then draw one card. Now let's say I'm looking for some good combat cards here, so let's say I want to get rid of this for some reason. I could use this one, and trigger it like that. And this, it goes with the arrow pointing up, so depending on where the arrow is, it depends on the orientation of the card. So if I trigger this, it goes like that. If I trigger the flex capacitor, it would end up like this, okay? So I'll trigger it, I'll do it, I'll discard something, I'll draw a replacement, fine. And now, let's say I did this one also, right? The cards are not usable until they are ready again, because they have a cooldown period, right? And the cooldown period is this phase right here is when that comes into play, during the time phase, which I told you I'd get back to. During the time phase, both players at the same time are going to cool down their items by rotating them once clockwise, everything. And so the 1 is immediately ready again, and the 2 takes 2 clicks, okay? And so next time it's the time phase, which would be my opponent or mine, it doesn't matter, then this is ready again, all right? And again, they could be sometimes, if it's a really powerful effect, it'll take 3 clicks of the passage of time for it to be ready once more. So there you go. So that was up to the deploy phase. I'm going to bring my mothership back over here, and I'm going to take my cards, put them next to my mothership, and put that there. Now, during the first round of the game, just to make everything even, there is no battle station phase during this first round, just so that I have, I'm not attacking my opponent with them having basically nothing out there. So from the second round on, then we'll do the battle stations phase, and the way that works is pretty straightforward. So let's say my opponent here has got some cards in their hand. We'll assume they've built some stuff also on their turn, but let's say it's my battle stations. I'm attacking them, okay? The way this works is I'm going to add a card to the pull pile. It's a pile of cards that you're creating basically in the center of the table somewhere, from which we are going to shuffle and then pull a card and see what happened with the attacking, okay? So I'll take a card, I'll throw it in there, and then my opponent has a chance to pass or throw a card in themselves. And they might want to throw this one in because besides having a combat power, which would do nothing on my attack, it does have a shield, which means it'll give them a benefit if this is the card that comes up. And so they could add this card in, and it comes back to me. I could add something else in, like that. And we'll keep doing this. They'll add one, then I'll pass, let's say, and they'll add whatever else they want to. So they'll do that, and then they'll hold on to these 2 cards. Once this is done, now we take this pile and we shuffle it up, and we pull 1 card from it, and that's the one that goes off within, trickery and stuff. There's, of course, ways you can mess with that in these cards. The ships themselves have powers, like this guy has something called Time Warp, which says that during my battle stations, I may discard the first combat pull and then re-pull from the combat stack. So we take this combat stack, shuffle it up. I'm supposed to be the one attacking, right? So I pull that, boom, that did not work. I would trigger my special power. We would do this. And actually, this might get shuffled back in. I'm not sure right this second, but we pull another card, basically. And boom, it's my card this time. It says +1 to attack. Haha. My ship, the Forerunner, has an attack value of 1. +1 is 2. I knock him down by 2. We'll take a couple of these tokens and throw them on there. Now they're at 10. When you attack, the first thing that happens, which I did not do in this case because, well, there's nothing there to remind me, you first declare what you're actually attacking. So instead of going directly for the mothership, you could go for one of these little boosts and knock that out. And if it's enough damage that it would spill over, then the rest goes to the mothership. So attacking the conversion plan for 4 means this is knocked out for 2, and the other 2 go right on the mothership. And then you clean up, throw everything away, and it's the other player's turn, and they again run down the list here of all the possible phases. will again fight, do the random shuffle, pull a card. You can obviously see the combat stack with a lot of cards, or with cards that even on their turn, attacking might hurt them. A way to reflect back damage. There's a lot of little tricks like that, which I'm not going to go into, but that's basically the gist of the game. You are using cards to boost your powers, to pump up your mothership, to seed this combat deck during the battle stations, and hopefully get the right combo going and the right pulls going, where you'll take your opponent's mothership down to 0 before they do it to you. And if you do that, you win the game. One last thing I want to mention, the little retribution token here is like a sort of a balancing act, a little catch-up mechanism. If when you do the combat pull on your turn attacking, you do not hit them, then you get this retribution token, which means next time you do hit, you get a +1 to your attack. You can only have one of these, and so it's a little bit I'll get you later sort of thing. And that's basically the game. That's how you play. Alright, so the first thing I'll say is all the bad stuff, because I like to get that stuff out of the way first. The production quality of this game is pretty bad. The tokens are not good quality. This is not atypical for Victory Point games, but again, I figured I would mention it. I like the look of the game, okay, and I like the look of the cards, actually, which I know some people did not like it. Some of the people I played with thought it was too simplistic, and they wanted this kind of artwork on the cards, and instead it's this monochromatic, very simple look, but I like the look on the cards. But this box and this sleeve, and just for extra fun, mine came with like glue that seeped from this sleeve onto the box, and so the sleeve was actually glued over the box. That took some interesting finagling to take this off without basically ripping it off. And then you get this box in which you put whatever. I like a few of the mechanisms I found very interesting. I like the lottery style fighting where you can throw one card in there and hope it gets picked and make it a good one, or you can just go boom, 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 and just play the odds. Your card is not going to come up because I threw 8 cards in there, right? So there is that, which I find interesting, and then the ways players manipulate all that is cool. I really like the time mechanism in it, where things cool down, and it happens to both players. On both players' turns, everything cools down. I like that. There's one other thing, which I did not mention in the overview, but if you burn through your deck, when you would reshuffle your deck, then your opponent gets 1 free cooldown go. Which means you also need to be concerned about conserving your goods available to you, or you're giving them a little bit of time. Yes, the game is not necessarily revolutionary. It's not necessarily something you are going to look at and go, oh wow, I've never seen this before. But I think it has enough interesting bits in the overall package that it is a worthwhile game for you to go and check out and give a shot to. So, Conquest and Kismet, I figured I would like it. I liked the look of the game. I had to kind of get over the components of the game, but ultimately I ended up enjoying it more than I thought I would, because it's a well put together package, it's a smart game, and it's a breezy one also. It kind of just flows. You feel good, you get into the mood of messing and trash talking to the other player, and the game provides a nice platform for that. I dig it. So, Conquest and Kismet, check it out if this is the style of 2-player game that you like, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.